This video is about the org chart and how we can set people's security permissions in ROC. Before we go to the org chart, which you'll find here at the top of the intranet list, let's go to the Rockumentation, and I will show you how to find the information about the org chart so that you can reference this in the future. The org chart is all explained here. The basics is that everybody in ROC with a staff privilege can do a lot. So we have figured out a way of kind of limiting them to only being able to do stuff in their department. The org chart has an icon that looks kind of like this little tree, I don't know, upside down tree. Each ministry area is broken down into all of their sub areas so that we can assign security at a granular level. And then the important thing to understand is the role. So not only do you put somebody in a group, but you give them a specific role, and their roles that you have to select from. You need to select one that starts with this little dash in front of it. There are a few other roles in the list, but you do not assign those to a security role. They're there for another purpose. So once you've given somebody a role, behind the scenes, ROC will use a data view and assign the right security to them. But there's a table here at the bottom that'll kind of give you an idea of what things mean. So the role of pastor means that they're a literal pastor, but they're also a manager and they're also on staff. And then the security that will be given to them is the staff worker and the pastoral worker role. A manager is just a manager and a staff person, and they're given a staff worker role. A staff role is the regular staff member, and think of this as somebody who's would attend team rally, and they're also given a staff member role or a staff worker role. A staff support person is somebody's on payroll, but they serve a support role like CP Kids or production tech. So they really don't need access to ROC, and they don't get any access to ROC, but this helps us put them in to kind of keep track of all of the people who are on staff, because there is a place where we can do a data view of saying, show me everybody who's officially on staff, and I can send an email to everybody. So it still gives us an opportunity to keep track of all those people, even though they might not get access to internal ROC. Then we get to our volunteer roles. Our volunteer staff-like access, and here it says it's rarely used, and it's for the volunteers who really need to access people profiles. They are given it says staff. Oh yeah, it's staff-like worker role, and this is a actual privilege in ROC that was built into core. So it gives everybody this role, almost all the same thing. Gives them almost all of the same capabilities that a staff worker would get. Our volunteer restricted access is where most of our volunteers will be placed, and that will give them a specialized role that we've created called a CP restricted role, where we've basically gone through and removed a whole bunch of staff worker permissions off of it, so they can only get to the areas they need to get to, such as event registrations or connections or the group viewer. Then we have a couple more roles here. Lay pastor. So this is a volunteer, but he also has a pastor access, and he also has staff-like access. So over here you see he gets the staff-like worker and the pastoral worker roles in ROC. And then a board member is obviously a member of their church board, and they get staff-like worker access. So all of these are specific roles that you can assign to a person when you add them to the org chart. So let me go back over to the org chart, and we'll just show an example. Okay, so this is the org chart, and we expand it out. And let's just say we're going to do like experience comms and our production team. So if somebody gets added to the production team, you can see here that production team's a good example because it has a little bit of everybody. Ryland's the manager, Gabe, Mia, and Nate are staff people. So manager and staff people will get access to internal ROC. But then Brandon, Jason, and Jonathan are staff support people, so they won't get access to internal ROC. So that's kind of the way that works. Let's, how do you do that? Let's see, how do you add somebody? It's just the way you would add a normal person in a group. You click the plus sign. Let's just pretend to add myself. You select the person's name, and then you change the role. So remember, you only want to choose somebody that has this little dash in the front of it. Don't select anything else. So I would be a staff person, and then you would click save. So I'm going to cancel so that I don't actually do that. Now let's go to somebody, an area that has some volunteers, and show how that gets added. Let's do Financial Peace University. So Ben Morales is leading our Financial Peace University classes right now, and he's been added as a volunteer restricted access. And that allows him to get to the areas where FPU is, but not any place else. And that took a lot of work behind the scenes, but we'll not bore you with those details. So anyway, that's how you put people in. Obviously, you want to remove people when they no longer should have access to that area.